Everybody, Erin Wester here. Good morning, happy Monday. Welcome to our 3-day sneak peek into coaching. I'm so excited all of you have joined me here this week. It's only 3 days. I'm going to go live a few days, post some other videos to give you more information on what it is to be a coach. I'll be in here multiple times a day to answer your guys' questions. You can always post it in here. As you guys saw, I made this group secret last night, so everything anybody posted here is going to be 100% private, and that's really what it's about, is a safe place for you guys to ask your questions, figure out if becoming a Beachbody coach is a good fit for you. When I first started as a Beachbody coach, I wanted the discount on Beachbody products. I was a P90X user at the time. I had wanted to get started with Shakeology and the new TurboFire that was coming out way back in 2010. So I had a friend from high school who was actually a coach who had reached out to me in the past. I was about to graduate with my master's degree and go looking for my first social work job. But the job market in Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin, was not that great for social work. I wasn't sure when I would find a job. At the time, I was working at Starbucks part-time while I was going to school and interning. And, my weight loss had been stalled. I had started my journey at 235 pounds, and I had been stalled. I couldn't break that 200-pound barrier. I was just stuck. So that's when I had saw a commercial for TurboFire that was coming out, because I was connected to the Beachbody community due to doing P90X. So I knew that TurboFire was coming out. My friend had talked to me about Shakeology in the past, and I had said it was too expensive. I had so many objections, but, I was desperate. I had reached that plateau. I didn't know what else to do. I knew I had to do something different. So, she said, you can get yourself at a discount and you can just make a little extra money. Because I was working part-time, I was in school, I was a single mom, I was living with my parents. I was not getting a lot of child support and things like that from my son's father. He was not helping with medical bills, anything like that, so it was really all on me. He was in a private preschool, things were just expensive, and I said, well, why not make a little extra money while I'm getting a discount? That sounds pretty cool to me. So I said yes, finally, and signed up to be a coach. I think I had said no probably 6 or 7 times to her, but she knew that this was something I needed, and she obviously knew me better than I knew myself. So I signed up to be a Beachbody coach. I did find a job, actually a pretty good job, working for the state, but I had still built my business. After about a year of building my business, I was making about $500 a week, which was really where I wanted to be. And income disclaimer, Beachbody does not guarantee any level of income. It's all based solely on what each individual person does. But a year in, I was making about $500 a week. I was pretty happy with that. I had built a pretty good business. I had reached my goal weight. Things were pretty great. And I think at that point, I had met my now husband. Things were good. So being naive, I let my business slide. I let my fitness slide. I was busy with boyfriend. I was busy with my kid who was in school. I was busy with work. It was a pretty stressful job. I was working for the state doing investigations on child abuse and neglect. And, I was making money to help pay off my bills, pay off my debt, because I had $100,000 in student loan debt, thanks to my private college for my master's degree. So, that had been my why then, just to pay off debt and have a little extra money and not worry about money so much. It's kind of had lots of debt, so I reached my goal, but instead of keeping on pushing and keeping on going, I stopped. I didn't really work the business for about 3 years. Then me and my husband got married in March of 2014, and we went on the Beachbody Success Club trip for our honeymoon. We had no intention of talking to the Beachbody coaches, no intention of doing the workouts, the trainings, anything like that. I wasn't really working the business. I was making a couple $100 a week. It was a nice supplement. It paid for our groceries. We were happy with that. But, we went on this trip and we saw people who were doing this full time. They're making 6-7 figures, who brought their spouses home. They could live wherever they wanted. They could travel whenever they wanted. They could take their kids on the Success Club trips and not have to worry about paying the extra airfare or any of that stuff. They didn't have to worry about that because they had the money from their Beachbody business. And I said, you know what? Why not me? We wanted to have more kids. My son was from a previous relationship. We wanted more kids. We wanted me to be home with them. We didn't want them in daycare. We didn't want to count on our families to watch our kids. So my why changed. I wanted to become a full-time Beachbody coach. Social work was stressful. I had switched jobs every year because of the stress of each job. So I had tried a whole bunch of different things. I did child protection. I worked at a homeless shelter. I worked in a residential facility for mentally ill veterans. I was a guardian for incompetent adults. Just nothing was the right fit. So, I was like, this is it. I'm going to make this my full-time job. I'm going to stay home with our kids and raise our kids, and I'm going to bring my husband home. So we could travel whenever we wanted. So we could live wherever we wanted. We live in Wisconsin. We don't want to live here forever. So I reached out to my coach. My friend from high school had actually left Beachbody. So I had a new coach, Barbie Caleb, the Beast's wife, from Body Beast. And she was a big time coach. She's in the million club. She makes multiple millions a year. She is a fantastic person. So I reached out to her when we got back from the trip. I said, what do I need to do? I need to make this a full-time thing. Because at the time, I'd lost my business. I was making $100 to $200 a week. That's it. And she said, we can do it. So, I did another new coach boot camp. I worked my butt off, and in 10 weeks, I built that business from making $100 a week to making $600 a week in 10 weeks. I was motivated. I was still working full time. We still had a kid. I had a husband. We bought a house. We were busy, but I knew that this is what I wanted, and I built it. And it just kept growing. And there was a point where it had grown to double what I was making as a social worker, which is amazing. So about a year after we got married, I got pregnant. And shortly after that, we found out we were having twins. Well, then, twin daycare? No, we couldn't do it. And, the whole plan was at the end of my maternity leave not to go back to my job. So that was the plan. That was the whole thing. My why was my kids, my family, giving us time and financial freedom. And that was what my why turned into. So your why for why you want to start a business can change over time. For me, that why became from paying off debt and reaching my goal weight to staying home with my kids. Then beginning of October of 2015, I found out that I had to be on bed rest and I needed an extended maternity leave for my job. I hadn't been there more than a year, so I didn't qualify for Family Medical Leave Act. So basically, needing 12 weeks unpaid off instead of 6, no. They said no to me. They basically let me go. We lost our insurance. Luckily, we were able to get on my husband's insurance, but I was having twins and they took away my insurance and they took away my income, and that could have been horrible if we didn't have that plan B, if we didn't have that Beachbody income that was double what I was making anyway. So, we said, that's fine. We'll be okay. We're not going to look for another job after maternity leave. And I said, okay. And, those of you that follow me know that we actually lost one of our twins when she was 12 days old. She had a rare heart defect that causes a cardiac arrest. That is not detectable. You can't find it with tests. There's no way to prevent any of it from happening. It's super rare. So, then I couldn't work. Losing a child, those of you who have lost a child know that is debilitating. I couldn't work for 6 weeks. I couldn't do anything. I grieved, I cried, and I still had 2 kids to raise. But thank God for Beachbody. My team stuck with me. My team pushed harder. My team did so much for me. Not even my team under me, the Empire, the big team I'm part of with Barbie. They just did so much for me, and it made me realize that this is more about replacing income. This is more about more than paying off debt. This is about a family of coaches that all support each other no matter what team we're on. Having your team help you when you go through hard times. A regular job wouldn't do that. And being a full-time Beachbody coach is like the best job in the world. I get to get my son on the bus every day. I get to be home when he gets off the bus every afternoon. I am here when my daughter wakes up every day. I get to spend time with her every single day. I work my business in the morning before she wakes up. I work my business while she's napping, and then I work my business after my son goes to sleep and my husband gets his time with her, with our daughter. Because he still works a full-time job. Because we're not quite at that 6-figure goal with Beachbody yet, but we know that we will be. And we will get all of our debt paid off. I have paid off $25,000 in credit card debt since becoming a Beachbody coach. So I have 0 credit card debt. I have paid off $20,000 in student loan debt, and our 3rd vehicle is almost paid off, so we can sell it and go down to a 2-vehicle family. Because when we were going to be having twins, we had to upgrade to a SUV with a 3rd seat. So we had to get a 3rd car. But Beachbody has just done so much more for me than give me accountability and be able to help women without the stress of working as a social worker. It has given me a sense of community, of family, being able to say I own my own business, an entrepreneur. As I said, I have 100% time freedom. If I want to take the day off, I can do that. If I want to randomly go up to my parents' cabin for the weekend, I can do that. It's really, that time freedom is what I always craved, and I 100% have that time freedom. It also makes me able to work at my church part-time with the high school ministry. I get to run the high school youth group at my church, and also do a lot more in my church that I never had the time for before. And I'm at all my kids' appointments. I saw my daughter's first steps. I saw the first time she crawled. These are all things I missed with my son. And that is why I'm a Beachbody coach, is for this time freedom that I've always craved and the financial freedom that we're working on. So I know that you guys have big whys too, so feel free to share them below this video. If you have any questions about my story or anything like that, just let me know. And I will see all of you guys later. Welcome to day 1. Bye.